Chris,
Yes.
how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent.
Um, Let me introduce you, and then I'll hand the mic, so to speak, over to you to discuss Atlatl.
Sounds great.
So Chris serves as Atlatl's director of marketing, where he focuses on building the brand to transform the visualization space. He's a visual experience evangelist and enjoys discussing how innovations and technology impact the modern consumer experience. Atlatl is a visual commerce company that was founded to meet the needs of buyers and sellers in the digital world. Their platform brings products to life on screen, enabling a digital buying experience that is faster, more accurate, and provides a better experience for consumers. Chris will now take us through why visual commerce is an important trend that brands need to capitalize on. And Chris, very quickly, you were a little quiet before. I want to make sure that everyone can hear you.
Yeah. How's that?
It's better. I would like speak prominently.
Okay. I'll go as loud as I can.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you. Well, hey everyone. Welcome. I'm thrilled to be here. Chris Beaudin, director of marketing for Atlatl. Really appreciate the team for inviting us, because this event, e-commerce reimagined, as we think about visual commerce, that's exactly how we look at it. And so this event really spoke to us, and what we wanted to offer today really was, a couple reasons why this is a trend you can't ignore. And so really what I want to do today is leave you with 5 reasons, but also level set a little bit for you on what visual commerce is, how we define it, and what we think the potential of it is really for you. So without further ado, let's dive in. Visual commerce, the way it's often defined, it's really the reliance on product visualization, and that could be through traditional mediums like imagery, even illustrations or artwork, or using technology through renderings, visualizations, visual configuration. I like to include this landscape you kind of see in the middle of the screen here. And that really helps you identify kind of where you might be in this landscape. Most of us, if you're marketers or business owners, sales professionals, we've certainly invested a lot in product photography in the past. Most of us have probably also dabbled in photorealistic imagery, CGI. Probably fewer of us have explored or experienced product visualization. Probably even fewer have taken that into actual visual product configuration. And then really, the smaller slice where we want most people to head is, how do you connect that, close the loop, and really create visual commerce as you integrate all of this through your back-end commerce platform or CPQ or whatever you do to transact with the market. And why this is so important is you need to think about how the buyer's journey has changed, right? The old model of visiting the store multiple times and sampling, touching, feeling product isn't always applicable. But what is kind of the new model is really these 3 steps. Customers are online, searching, and eventually selecting a product. Once they do, how do they make it their own through choosing the color, maybe making option selections, configuring, customizing, or personalizing? And once they do that, how do they then really preview that purchase and confirm that's what they want before they actually buy? And that's what visual commerce powers. And to get another perspective of how that actually happens, think of it this way, and this is as high level as we can kind of start with, but think of your product models, right? The things that you start with before you actually give it to production. Taking those 3D models just that you would produce off of, but transferring them into a form and fashion that is more digestible to a consumer, really bringing them to life on screen, and then creating that super efficient way to actually transact with the market, to create commerce all through visual. That's what we help you do, and through a platform like ours, which we call Atlatl Visual. Now, rather than take you through the entire spectrum of how we do that, what I want you to do is walk away with 5 reasons why this is something you need to have a conversation with your team, with your executives, with your colleagues, about why is the time for visual and why is it now? And, I'll guilty admission. So Friday afternoon, I was building these slides, tired from a long week, probably a little punchy. I think we've all been there these days. There was a Tom Cruise movie in the background. Big Top Gun fan and sucker for dad jokes. So I said, you know what, Tom's going to help me do this. So Tom is going to help me with 5 reasons why you need to remember why visual commerce is something you can't ignore. Okay. Now, why now? let's start there. We've been on this slow and steady march towards, a brighter, better future through technology, right? And yeah, we're not quite to where Minority Report depicted the future of technology, even though that's a great example people often cite. We don't have autonomous vehicles flooding the streets yet, although we're getting closer and closer. We don't have translucent screens that bring up, vivid imagery. But we do have some things that are truly impactful. But I think we've become numb a little bit to virtual reality and augmented reality and all these topics. Like, when is it actually becoming real? Well, the truth is, a lot of that is here now, which is great for us because that technology is something we can harness. But what we've been waiting on is the market. Now, unfortunately, the market kind of came to us. We had this global pandemic that we're still in the midst of. And for the first time, all of us really experienced a sudden stop economy. The entire competitive landscape has shifted. This new normal we're referencing is us doing this rather than us sitting in a conference room, right? So as marketers, as business owners, we've had to learn how do we adapt and still serve our customers in the best way we can. And one of the incredible stats I've heard is that the projections for the next 4 years of digital transformation, many of those transformations, particularly on the front end of the customer experience, have happened in these 4 months. That's an incredible rate of change, but it speaks to when there was no other way, we had to adapt, and that mind shift had to happen quickly. So now is the time. The market has arrived. The technology is there. What do we do with it? Well, it's a need for speed. If you're going to adapt, you need to do it quickly, and the fastest thing to help you sell products is visualization. Why? Well, seeing is believing. We know that. That's why we go to the store, where we can touch, we can hold, we can feel the weight of it. But even in the store, we're limited, right? We can't get visual confirmation on anything outside of what's on that showroom floor. How can we see every option? How can we see all the different configurations? How can we see exactly what we want without having to imagine it? That's what visualization brings to life. And that visual confirmation helps us make decisions faster. Plus, we can see anything we want at any time. And this all works because we are just visual creatures, right? We process information 60,000 times faster through our eyesight. We have that instant recognition, and that speeds up our purchase journeys as we go. But they can't just be fast, they have to be accurate. And much like, Tom doing his stunts, he's got to be very precise. You have to be exact when you're showing a product, otherwise you create a false expectation. That accuracy is important. That visual confirmation is very important to your buyer because that's what gives them confidence to make a purchase. And guess what? If they're confident, not only are they going to purchase faster, but they're going to return less. They've met their expectations. They know what they're buying. It saves you time and money, and it saves them time and money because they get the right products every time. And if you're faster, you're more accurate, you're probably going to have a great experience. But experience is incredibly important. And just like, Tom serving a drink here in cocktail, he could have just poured it into a glass and handed it to you. But there was a little bit of entertainment value to it. Now, I'm not saying you have to add entertainment value into all of your experiences. What you need to understand is what does your buyer expect and how do you give them a great experience as they go through that transaction? Is it about being faster and more direct? Is it about ensuring accuracy and confidence? Or are you speaking to an aesthetic or an inspiration that they need to create that purchase? But at the end of the day, a satisfied buyer enjoys the experience. And in fact, they'll pay more for it. Studies show 86% of buyers will pay more and even switch brands for a better buying experience. So not only will they buy more, but they're going to do it more often and they're going to tell more people about it. And you'll gain more customers through the process. So if now is the time, we're selling faster, it's more accurate, and we're providing a better experience all through visual. Well, what is our return on that visual investment? If we look at a visual platform and we convert our products to a visual experience, what should we expect? Well, here's what we've seen from our customers and through our own experiences as buyers ourselves. Not only are you going to increase revenue, but you're also going to increase your average sale. And here's why. I spent 10 years in selling kitchen cabinetry, and we always experienced where customers would often have this reverse buyer's remorse. They would come back saying, I wish I would have added this feature. And the problem was they were being sold to. Visual platforms and visual commerce flip that around and empower buyers to actually choose. They get to sell themselves on the options they want and end up they will buy more through that process. So what does that mean for you? that means you're going to gain market share over your competition. That means you're actually going to lower your cost as you do it. You don't have to supply displays, merchandising, and constantly spend launch dollars on getting product out to market. You can do it instantaneously through your website. But not only that, you're also improving the data you get back on your product. Imagine if you could learn what is being configured, what options are being selected, who's actually buying what, and what aren't they buying. Could you make a smarter product portfolio going forward with that information? That's what visualization can offer you. So, as we think about these, why can you not ignore visual commerce any longer? It is a time. The market is asking for it. They're demanding it because we have no other choice. And we're not going to leave the conveniences we're beginning to learn and enjoy now. We're going to expect these going forward. We're going to expect it to be a frictionless, fast experience to buy. It needs to be accurate to protect not only us as sellers, but those who are purchasing the products. It needs to be a winning experience, and it needs to be one that you can prove your return on your visual investment. Now, obviously, we could talk for hours about each of these topics. We'd love to help you learn more. One of the ways you can do that, you can connect with me directly, Chris at Atlatl Software, or visit our site, atlatlsoftware.com. And we have plenty of content around each of these topics, whether it's the experience economy, visual commerce, visual consumers, or even a calculator that can help you predict your return on that visual investment. So again, thank you to the Radical team for having us. Would love to take any questions or discuss more details in the breakout.
Chris, thank you very much. A couple of questions that we've gotten from folks. Maybe talk a little bit about your target consumer. What types of brands or businesses or industries best stand to benefit from visual commerce?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the quote I like to use is we were talking with a research analyst, and for the first time when they saw our platform, his words were, anyone who sells a product should be doing this, a physical product. We like to think of it as someone who sells a product with options, with any configuration, whether that's big or small, small dollar value, high dollar value. You know, our market can serve product sellers, plain and simple. Awesome.
And talk a little bit about what technology changes have allowed you to do what you do. Like what has allowed this today, and it wasn't possible, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, there's a long answer to that question that goes way above my expertise on the technical side. But what I can tell you is we're constantly evolving with different platforms, and we've built on the Unity engine, Babylon as well, which we're certainly invested in now. You know, we've looked at app-based AR as well as integrated AR. You know, we constantly are looking at what technology is allowing us, and I think what's always interesting is how our devices are progressing, and that lets us to do even more for the customer, and really that's been the holdback. And since that has caught up, we now have AR in almost everyone's pocket through their phones, and can now connect that experience from an on-screen configuration all the way through to AR to purchase.
Awesome. And I guess when you think about, and I guess you spoke to this in the 5 reasons, but post COVID, obviously more people at home, more people shopping online. Any other reasons why visual commerce is more relevant or should be considered more relevant to brands today versus 4 months ago?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the things we're looking at it as marketers ourselves, selling to marketers. This concept around the contactless economy, right? What is that going to mean for us going forward? What does it mean that we now have totally flipped how we begin to shop? One of the key stats that I thought was super impactful in the first month of the shutdown, there was a 1,200% increase in online account creation. 300% increase in app downloads for brands we were already engaging with. That level of engagement, that's what I mean by the market has come to us. Right. And it's not going away. So as we emerge from this, that will be there. People will continue to engage that way. And it's not that we won't go back to the stores, but that's not where we're going to go first.
Got it. Awesome. Chris, well, thank you very much for being here and presenting at Atlatl. If people are interested in asking any other questions, Chris will be in the breakout session to your left for the next few minutes. And if people are interested in reaching out to Chris, we will make his information available. And as I noted, as with all other presenting companies, we're happy to facilitate those connections toward the end of the week. So thank you again, Chris. And in the next minute or so, I will bring on Sam Jones of OOO.